Welcome to a channel that is going to inform you, is going to educate you, and is going to empower you through knowledge on economics, finance, and businesses. So, I know you guys have had business ideas. I know you guys think of setting up businesses and providing value to clients every single day of your lives. But one thing that most of us struggle with is to determine what is the nature of the value that I'm providing to my potential market. So you have an idea, but you don't know, is it a product? Is it a service? Because remember, the nature of the value that you're going to provide, they all need different strategies for you to succeed as a business owner. Now, what is the definition of a business? A business is defined as a continuous provision of value that other people want. So people have to want what you're trying to provide. You cannot provide a business that people don't want, otherwise you will not sell. And whatever you're providing, people must be willing to pay for it. So think about a value that you're going to provide that people are willing to pay for it. Even if the value is good enough and people are not willing to pay for it, then it's not a great idea. And then in a way that the customers their needs will be satisfied. So you're providing value, customers are willing to pay for it, and their needs will be satisfied. Because once their need will be satisfied, then they'll come again for the service, and in the end, your business will be able to generate profits. That is what is defined as a business. Now the question is, I want to focus on the value that you're creating. What are the different types of value that you can provide to a customer for them to be able to pay you and for you to be able to generate profits? In the current day and age, we have 12 divisions. There are 12 divisions of value, economic value that you can provide to the market. So think about your idea and position it in one of the things that I'm going to mention to you. Number one, a product. It is the most obvious. Whenever you're thinking of a business, you think about a product. A product is a tangible item, a piece of cloth, a shoe, a gadget, an electronic. All those are products. Now, the secret to products is you have to create something that people want. You cannot create a product that people don't want. And make sure that the costs that you're going to incur for you to provide that product are minimal. Because when you provide products that are minimal costs of production, then you are able to sell as many units as possible because the price will be friendly. So any person thinking of setting up a business in the line of a product, you have to make sure that how well can you get this product at the most cost effective method so that you can provide a competitive price, and then in the end you can generate enough profits. That is number one. The other value that you can create, you can decide to provide a service. A service is you assist someone with something they want to do. Yeah? You assist someone with something they want to do, and then they pay you the fee. Someone wants to go from point A to point V. You have a car, you provide the service. Once you take them to where they want to go, they pay you back. That's a service. So when you're providing a service, this is the secret. You have to make sure that you have employees who are capable of providing that skill or ability that this person wants. Remember, these people are capable of giving themselves that service. But they want you to provide that service because maybe they have other things that they have to do. So you have to make sure that the service you're providing is at the level of skill that these people will appreciate and they need. So the secret to service industry is to provide high quality services, and you make sure that you retain as many clients as possible by making sure that you meet their needs. If you don't do those things, the clients will go away. The third value is something called a shared resource. I know many people have thought about shared resources as services, but I would love you to define this as shared resources. Think about a gym. A gym, it's one gym. It's several equipments, but they're being used by many people. Yeah? So it is called a shared resource. It is not necessarily a service, though you can define it that way. But the best categorization of a gym or a club is a shared resource because many people are coming to utilize the same kind of services that you're providing. What are the things you need to look out for when you're providing a shared resource? Number one, you have to create an asset that people want to access to. When you set up a business, a gym, you have to create a gym that people want to come to. Otherwise, you will have wasted your resources. You have to serve as many people as possible while maintaining the same quality. If you provide a shared resource, can you imagine a gym where there are many people coming to the gym, but now you are not providing the same quality, so people have to fight for the weights. People have to fight for their space. People have to be fighting for the mirrors. All those kind of things, changing rooms. So you have to make sure that as people come to enjoy that shared resource, they are able to still experience the same level of quality as much as possible. And then you have to charge enough money for you to maintain the quality. Remember, if you maintain a gym, if you run a gym, and then you are charging very small amounts of service fee, such that you cannot even recover enough for you to maintain the quality. Because remember, people go to a gym that they feel like is giving them the right quality, the right attention. They can access equipment very easily. The hygiene within the room is fine. So you cannot provide all that if you're charging very little money that you cannot be able to recover your profits as well as recover your costs. So make sure that you charge the fee that is commensurate to the service, the quality that you're providing. Now, we go to the fourth one. The fourth type of value that you can create as an idea or as a business is subscription. You've heard of subscriptions as a service. Think about YouTube. YouTube provides, you subscribe to YouTube for you to be able to consume the content. Now, what are the secrets of a business that provides subscription as a value? Number one, you have to make sure that when people subscribe to whatever it is that you're providing, they find value. If they don't find value, they will either unsubscribe or they'll be very inactive subscribers. So you have to continuously provide something of value to these people. Number two, you have to continuously attract new subscribers. If you don't continuously attract new subscribers and the old ones, the existing ones, are not actively participating, then potentially your business will die. So you have to make sure that you do that as much as possible. And then you have to retain the old subscribers, the existing subscribers. If you don't keep the existing subscribers entertained or providing sufficient value, they will go away. So for subscription, you have to think of things like Netflix. You didn't know that. Netflix is a subscription kind of business. Think of YouTube. Think of fiber internet. The internet. If continuously Safaricom or Airtel or Zuku, they don't provide you with internet that can serve the needs of your house or the needs of your phone, then you will leave them. So that is an example of a subscription kind of a product or service. The other kind of value you can create a resale value. And I think this is the predominant kind of value that people provide in the market. Resale is you acquire an asset, a product, and then you go and sell it to someone else at a higher value or at a higher price. Think of supermarkets. Think of your shops next door. They purchase the things at a lower value from a wholesale, and then they come and sell to you at a higher value, making profits. What are the secrets that you need to remember when you're doing this kind of a business? Provide products or services as inexpensively as possible. You cannot be selling you cannot be doing a resale business when you're too expensive, because the market will run away from you. You have to keep the product in very good condition. When you are doing, for example, a supermarket kind of business, if you purchase vegetables from the farmers and you bring them to the supermarket, if those vegetables don't remain as fresh as possible for people to purchase, as soon as they get bad, no one will purchase them and you will go at a loss. So you have to make sure that the condition of the products you're selling remain the same from when they left the initial producers. You have to make sure you sell them as soon as possible, like I've said, because the longer they stay in your business, the more the potential, or the easier for them to get bad and you will not be able to sell. And then you have to make sure, finally, that you maintain a high markup. Markup is the difference between the cost and the price. So if you buy something at, let's say, for example, 100 Kenya shillings or $1, yeah, make sure if you had initially intended to sell it at 120 Kenya shillings And then you reach the market and you find that the market, you can still sell it at 150 and you'll still be able to make the sale. Then you go for that. Why settle for less when you can potentially still make more and the market will not mind? Yeah. So make sure that the difference between the costs and the price, you actually take advantage of that and maximize it as much as possible. The next kind of value that you can provide to your market is a value called a lease business. Lease. Now, lease is when you have an asset and then you allow people to come and utilize your asset at a fee, at a predefined fee over a period of time. Think about rent. Think about power tools. Yeah, you go and lease a tractor. You want to go do farming. So you go and lease a tractor, you go do farming, and then you pay the owner of the tractor. The most important thing you need to keep up when you're doing a lease kind of business is that you have to acquire an asset that people want to use. You cannot go and lease an aeroplane when the people around you cannot afford an aeroplane. You have to buy an asset that people continuously need and they want to use them on a day-to-day basis of their lives. And then you have to protect yourself against potential damage. Yeah? When you have an asset that you're leasing out, you have to insure it. You have to make sure that the potential of it being spoiled is taken care of. Yeah? The next kind of service or the next kind of value that you can provide as a businessman or woman is you can do agency. You've heard people say that I'm in the agency business, that I'm in the agency industry. Agency is where you are marketing and selling an asset or a product that is not entirely yours, that has been created by someone else, but you're coming in between the person, the producer, and the asset, and you're trying to sell that asset to the market. Yeah, agency people have done some tremendous jobs and they have elevated businesses that have value, but they didn't know how to put themselves out there. But the most important thing as an agent or doing in the agency business is that you have to find a seller with valuable assets. The person who is trying to sell the product has to be selling something that is valuable. Otherwise, the name of your agency will be spoiled. If you keep selling products that don't have value, then people will not blame the original producer. They'll blame you, who is the face of that product at the point of sale. Number two, you have to establish trust with the potential buyers. If you're an agent, the people who are buying it, because they understand you're not the producer, they have to trust you because they're trusting that you have done the due diligence of the product and you understand the value of that product. So you have to keep that in mind. You have to be a very good negotiator because remember, as an agent, your money will come from the sale. So you have to be very good at negotiating so that whatever it is that you're able to negotiate between the producer and the buyer, then that is where you make your commission. So you have to be a very good negotiator. And then you have to remember to collect your commission. So many agencies have sold products, but they forget that their money comes from them collecting the commission from the producers of the product. So you have to be always on toes to make sure that once you make any sale, you are paid for whatever it is that you have been able to do. The other value that you can provide as a businessman or woman is something called audience aggregation. Audience aggregation is like, think about even the traditional radio shows. People who listen to a certain radio station or TV station, they are an audience. And this audience, they tend to have a similar kind of value, or they tend to have a similar kind of demographic or characteristic, such that they listen to a specific radio station because they share something in common. Now, the person who is bringing all this audience together, they are called audience aggregators. And in that moment, you can take advantage and then you bring together someone who wants to get the attention of that group. Yeah? And then they sell their products through that audience aggregation. The most important thing in this kind of business is you have to identify people with the common characteristics. You cannot do audience aggregation kind of business when you don't have people with common characteristics. You have to create a way of attracting these people. You have to find a way of attracting people with common characteristics. And then you have to find third parties who are interested in getting the attention of these people, because it is through that you will be paid. These are the people who will pay you because they get the attention of the audience. You understand? The next kind of value that you can provide in the market is called loan. I know you hear loans all the time, but you didn't know that there is a value in the market called the loan business. The loan business, you are someone who has resources. You have money. and you want to give this money to people who need the money. But when they pay you back, they pay you back at an interest. Yeah? The most important thing when you're doing the loan business is you have to have money to lend. You cannot lend nothing. So you cannot get into the loan business when you're broke or when you have no money. You need also to find people who are going to borrow. You might have money and you're willing to give, but you don't have the people who are willing to borrow that money so that they can do business with that money. Number 3, you have to set interest on that money that is adequately compensating you. So sometimes you give people loans, but at a lower rate than even the inflation rate of the country. If someone gives you a loan at a lower rate than the inflation rate, then they are losing. They are not even getting anything. Even if you honor your payment back, if the interest is lower than the inflation of the country, then the person is losing. So you have to put an interest rate that is commensurate to whatever it is that you're providing. And then you have to know how to estimate the probability that that person can default. A loan business is very sensitive because people need money, people love money. And when someone wants money, they can collect money from you with very, very well convincing ways of telling you that they'll repay you back. From where you sit, you have to be able to estimate that potentially, is this person capable of refunding me, or are they going to refund this money? And should they not refund, what are the potential ways in which I can mitigate the risk that they will not pay you back? The other kind of value that you can provide as a businessman or woman is something called an option. Have you ever had an option? Now, an option is a purchaser paying you money beforehand in expectation that in future you are going to provide a certain value. So someone will pay you today and they expect that on the 20th of December that they are going to consume something from you. And whatever they have paid now will be the price at that particular point in time. And should the price change, they will not add you anything. They are still going to consume that product at the same value that they had paid for it. Think about movies. You pay for a movie in expectation that you're going to watch it on a certain date. That's an option that you have the right to watch that movie at the price that you have paid. You can even think of retainers. If you're a lawyer, you are paid retainers, but the client who pays you retainers, they expect that should an issue arise in their business or their personal lives, they will exercise their right to engage you to sort them out with their issues. Yeah? So those are kind of options. When you're doing the option business, always remember this, that you have to identify some action that people might want to take in the future. You have to think through what would these people want to do in the future that they can pay me now, and then I give them the right to exercise what they want to do in that future. You have to offer buyers that right. They have to have the right. You cannot provide an option and then they don't have the right to exercise what it is that they have paid for. Now, the next value that you can create is something called insurance. Yeah? If you're offering insurance, this is basically a transfer of risk from the purchaser to the seller. So I want to buy a vehicle, and this vehicle, I don't know whether if I pay now, that vehicle will arrive in my country. Whether if the vehicle is leaving Japan to Kenya, there is a risk that the people I'm sending this money to, they might lie to me. They might not be genuine business people. So I take an insurance cover over my vehicle that should that vehicle not arrive, then there is an insurance company that is going to pay me. So insurance, you are taking the risks of some of the steps that people are taking in life. The most important things to note about insurance as a business, you have to have an agreement you have to have a legal agreement that now transfers that risk. You don't forget that. You have to estimate the risk that whatever it is that they're going to do will happen or not happen, so that you know how much you're going to charge them. Premiums are based on the potential of the risk. The higher the risk, the higher the premiums. If you don't know how to measure that, then don't get into insurance business. Otherwise, you will lose money. You have to remember to collect the payments. You have to remember to collect the premiums. Whatever it is that they are paying you, you have to make sure that they pay you so that you are able to cover them. Otherwise, if you don't collect the premiums, you will cover a risk that you have not been paid for. And then you have to pay, eventually, you have to pay the legitimate claims. You cannot be running an insurance business and you're not paying legitimate claims. Legitimate claims are those insurance contracts that have the risk has actually happened. I bought a vehicle, but the vehicle actually never came. So if you had promised to cover that person on that front, then you have to make sure that you actually fulfill your pledge and your contractual obligations. And then finally, and the one that I like most, is something called the capital business. Capital business are people who have money. You have disposable income, but you don't know where to take that money. Okay, you know where to take, but you want to give businesses that are viable the financial backing so that they can actually grow and succeed. So if you have money and you want to invest money in a business, then that line of business is called the capital line of business. Now, you can do this in three ways. You can become an angel investor, or you can become a venture capitalist, or you can even purchase stock. And angel investors, basically, they invest in the idea. So sometimes the business has not even been set up yet, but the idea looks brilliant and looks viable, and angel investors will back you up from the word go. Venture capitalists, they come in at the point where the business is already operating, and they have seen track record of this business, and they think that this business actually is growing and it is going somewhere, and you need the financial backing for it to expand. That is where venture capitalists come in. And then finally, of course, you can purchase a stock. This one is a company that is already existing and it is listed in a stock exchange, and where you can be able to purchase a stock in the company and become a part owner of that company, and you shall share in the dividends, and you shall share in the capital gains whenever the value of that company actually grows. When you're a capital investor, or when you're providing value as a capitalist, you must have a pool of resources. You cannot invest in a business when you don't have money. You must find a promising business. You don't invest in businesses that are not promising and are not viable. Always keep that in mind. And then you have to correctly estimate the value of that business. Because if you don't correctly estimate the value of that business, then you might lose up in the future, or you might put your money in a business that has been overvalued and you will lose. And then finally, you have to negotiate the ownership. Are you going to take 5%, 10%, 20% in that business? You have to keep in mind that those things, when the business eventually grows, will come to matter. And there you have it, guys. Those are the 12 forms of business that you can actually form and provide value for. If you have any questions on that, please hit me on the comment section. Like this post, you can share it, and in case you have any further questions concerning that, I am definitely here to provide you with advice. My name is Duncan. Remember to subscribe, and this channel will educate you, it will inform you, and above all, it will empower you to become a very good economist, a very good finance person, and of course, a very good business person. Thank you very much.